Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, unfortunately, in this last week here in the U.S., we've had a few rather tragic events. At one point during the week, we had a bridge collapse. It was a pedestrian bridge down in Florida that was being built on the campus of Florida International University to basically allow students easier access from their off-campus apartments to campus without having to cross, a busy intersection as much. And it collapsed. As well, we had another tragic event happen in Iraq with our military personnel. We had a military helicopter crash, killing all 7 aboard. And so we're going to start with that. So last week we had a helicopter crash with U.S. military personnel. Unfortunately, nobody survived. Everybody on board died. Right now, the Pentagon says that there's no evidence or no evidence to point that maybe they were shot down or anything like some people were trying to claim. The Pentagon says that they don't have any information showing that there was an attack on the helicopter, but that the helicopter did crash, and that all 7 aboard passed away. So my condolences to all the families and friends of the victims. And it just shows you that freedom ain't free, folks. That, these people go out there and they risk their lives every single day. Whether you know it or not, they're out there defending this country and defending our freedoms. That's why I believe our military deserves so much respect. You can sit there and say they don't. That's your prerogative. But as an American, it's my belief that our military personnel deserve respect. They go out there and they put their lives on the line, as you see here, and they're not coming home. These guys aren't. These people won't be coming home to their families and friends. I wanted to read you the list of the 7 people that passed away on this particular event. You had 7, like I said, including Captain Mark Weber of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Captain Andreas B. O'Keefe from New York. Captain Christopher Zaintis of New York. Master Sergeant Christopher Raguso of New York. Staff Sergeant Deshaun Briggs of Port Jefferson, New York. And as well, there was Master Sergeant William R. Porsche, 36 of Florida, and Staff Sergeant Carl P. Enos of Tallahassee, Florida. These 7 individuals gave their lives, in pursuing, people such as ISIS. And they gave their lives in that fight. I have much respect for the people that lay their lives down to protect us every single day. And like I said, my condolences to the families. And I really don't know what else to say. I'd like to thank these gentlemen for their service to our country. I'm sorry that they're not alive to be able to hear it. But this shows that, we shouldn't enter into wars lightly, and we shouldn't enter into, conflicts like this so lightly. We've got to make sure that what we're fighting for is just and good. And I think, a fight against ISIS, I think, is. And I think they're doing what they have to do. And I feel so bad for the families of these victims of this, helicopter crash that apparently took place right around the border of Iraq and Syria. Now, taking me on to another tragic event that took place was down at the campus of FIU, Florida International University. And as of yesterday, rescuers or really recovery efforts recovered the remaining bodies of those crushed when a pedestrian bridge fell on top of traffic. There's video out of exactly how it fell. It shows you the exact moment it fell. I I couldn't show you the video because one, I didn't feel like I didn't really want to download it, but two, I didn't think it was necessary. It's already tragic enough, and I don't think that video should be out being shown. But anyhow, 6 individuals ended up dying from the result of this falling bridge. The bridge was a pedestrian bridge built to bridge the gap basically between off-campus apartments and on-campus and people and students getting on campus. Unfortunately, there was obviously some kind of flaw in it somewhere, and it collapsed. This is what they're calling an ABC bridge, or it's basically an already built thing. They they make it off site. They bring it to the site. They do some different things they have to do, and then they basically rotate it 90 degrees, put it up in about a day. This is technology. Apparently, it's been used in some 800 pedestrian and other bridges across the country, and it's a technology that has worked up until now. Now, the other day, it was announced that this had become a homicide investigation. I guess that's because they found out that they had been notified of cracks in the structure before, just like 2 days, by an engineer, just 2 days before the collapse, and they did nothing to fix it. I don't know if they were trying to fix it when it broke or whatever, but they should have, if they knew that was a problem, they should have cordoned off traffic and taken the thing back off the road. I don't know if the company will have what will happen to the company. They're apparently a well-known company there in Florida. But unfortunately, this has taken the lives of 6 Americans. And it's really just a tragic event. But it is what happens, though. I mean, the one thing with schools a lot of times is they're forced to take the lowest bidder. Because, different regulations and things. And I don't think schools should have to take the lowest bidder. I don't think that's a requirement they should have to do. I mean, think about it. Anytime you're on a campus, a college campus, and they're having to take the lowest bid, every time you get on that elevator, you're on the lowest bidder. Every time you walk on the top story of a brand new building, that's the lowest bidder you're trusting. And sometimes people, they're going to undercut. To undercut other people, they'll cut corners. And unfortunately, that happens. I don't know if that happened in this case. We will find out as the investigation unfolds. Personally, it's just shocking that, that a company would be so negligent that they would know there was a problem and do nothing to fix it. Now, Marco Rubio came out and said that they may have been apparently they were tightening cables of some sort on it at the time that the bridge collapsed. But if you're looking at something like that, you're doing something, it's got cracks in it, and you're tightening cables and stuff on it at the same time, knowing there's cracks in the thing at places that cracks shouldn't be. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it during traffic, when traffic is there. Or maybe you should close the road for a minute. And I know it may have been, it may have, hindered traffic, caused congestion. But it would have saved lives. I would rather be a little inconvenienced and alive than not inconvenienced and crushed by a bridge. So to these families and friends of these 6 individuals, my sincerest condolences. I'm sorry this has happened to your loved ones and your friends. It's just, it shouldn't happen. But unfortunately, tragic events do happen. And I'm hoping it's just some tragic accident. But this company's going to have a lot of problems. Especially if they were truly warned that there were cracks in the bridge that should have been addressed, and it probably should have been taken, they should have just rebuilt it. Obviously, though, something proper didn't take place, because 6 Americans are dead, and a bridge collapsed on top of all these cars. And the fact that they were there as quickly as they could, but rescuers weren't able to save people. It crushed the cars with people, right there in them. And so keep your first responders in your thoughts and prayers as well, because they had to deal with that horrific scene. And I guarantee you, for some of them, those images will not leave their heads anytime soon. So to the first responders, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for getting out there and trying to save as many people as you could when that bridge collapsed last week. And I've got to say, I'm shocked that something like this could happen. In 2018, you'd figure something like a bridge would be safe. But this was a brand new bridge built to supposedly withstand a Category 5 hurricane. And it just fell. So keep everybody involved in your thoughts and prayers. Send your condolences. Say a prayer if you're a praying person. Just do what you do when somebody, when something tragic like this has happened. And so with that, I will tell you, I am glad that they are investigating what happened. And they are also going to look into the infrastructure of other bridges that were built using the same method to make sure that there's no fatal flaw within the plans for them. And they're going to try and make sure that this doesn't happen again. So hopefully, if they find cracks in other bridges like this and stuff, that they will be able to find a way to fix them before anyone else gets hurt. Anyhow, that's been the Big Ranch Show. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you down the road.